Ari and I were introduced by a mutual friend. If you can believe it or not, it's a very popular industry in Hong Kong. They're a Hong Kong banker. I don't know if you know any of those around here, but we shared an afternoon tea and got to know each other. We're both designers. I'm in the interior portion of design, and she's more in the hospitality. But after a few minutes, we realized we just had a whole lot in common. We're both very driven. We love to travel. We're both a little quirky. We love to shop, and we're both blonde. That may sound like an obvious commonality, but blondes love to shop. And it's not really about that, though. It's the treasures, the hunting aspect. You know, what are you going to find? Something special in an unlikely place that makes it so exciting and really creates an experience. So a little bit about me. We came from very different backgrounds. I grew up in the southeast part of the United States, actually Birmingham, Alabama. Great food, great football fans, and great treasure hunting. Lots of antique stores, lots of junk stores. And what I loved most growing up, and you know what, guys, I need my clicker. Do I have a little clicker? Oh, there we go.
Here you go.
Thank
Clicker.
you. Let's see, is that the right way? Oh, there we go. Okay. A little premature, but it's a nice image. So, but my favorite memories growing up really were looking for lost treasure with my grandfather and my grandmother and my mother and really my whole family. You know, we would look for things that maybe someone else would just disregard as being special, and maybe it needed to be completely refinished. But we would do it, and we made it a family affair, and it was really a lot of fun. So some people don't like antiques. I think even in Hong Kong especially, people really like new things. You know, you get a new apartment, you get new furniture, you completely start over. I got here and I thought, that's so strange, you know, don't you want to keep some of that? But in the South, you never give anything away. It's probably the opposite problem. You hold on to everything. But I really think it makes a home so rich when you have antiques because it's part of your past. And you bring something new in. Maybe it's some great Philippe Starck plastic chair or something you picked up at Lane Crawford. But when you bring them all together, that's what really starts to create a home. And those layers are what are fantastic to me. And they really start to tell a story, as the slide says, about your home. You know, it's not just an empty box. It's the things that are filled in there and the people. And why do they have those things? Because they're special to them. So I studied architecture and interior design at Auburn University, and then I went to New York and worked for a legendary interior designer, Bunny Williams, and it was a lot of fun. I got to shop on Fifth Avenue, Bergdorf Goodman, all the best antique stores that New York could offer, and I was able to learn a lot in that experience and work with clients that the last thing they would ever talk about was their budget. So that was fantastic. The best fabric showrooms in the whole country, just right, literally a block or two away from the office. But my husband and I moved to Hong Kong 8 years ago, and it's been fantastic. I would hate to leave. But we initially traveled a lot all over Asia, and we were in factories, which was not exactly Fifth Avenue. And at first, it took me a while to get used to it, but I really learned to appreciate what it actually takes to make all these fabulous fabrics and the furnitures that you see in a catalog or that you see in a showroom. And it really opened my eyes to all the possibilities. So I started my design business, Beverly McCloskey Interiors in Hong Kong. And I mostly do interior renovations, but I do some institutional work as well. As a designer, you naturally walk into your client's home and you start to imagine all the possibilities. The first meeting, the client tries to explain what they want. You try to understand what they want. Designer presents drawings and sketches, possibly materials. And then the client makes changes, which is never fun at first. You know, you have this beautiful glass box you've created, house, and they just tear it apart. But no, really, actually, it's great because it forces a designer to really make that design tailored to the person that's going to live there. So you hone the design, the client keeps telling you what they want, you listen, you change it, and it doesn't become my design anymore. It becomes the design of it's a collaboration between the clients. And none of my designs ever look the same. And that's not because, I can come up with something different every time. It's because the client's different, and the client really dictates the needs and the final product. So it's not just stale office meetings. It's having coffee with them, asking who puts their feet up when they're watching TV. Do they have kids? Do they like to entertain? Do they like different colors? And that's really and also do they pay their bill on time? It's kind of an important thing too. But that's really important in creating a home and transforming it into a home. So the next slide is, actually it's Ari, it's your turn.
Okay, well, Beverly is on the residential side. I'm on the commercial side. And my firm, Getty's, specializes in the hospitality business, which most people don't really know what that is. It has nothing to do with hospitals and everything to do with hotels, restaurants, spas, and sometimes the odd residential project that may be as big as a boutique hotel or hopefully at least as expensive as one. Conversely to most practitioners in interior design, I studied hotel administration at Cornell University, where I was able to augment my management-focused curriculum with a lot of the architecture and design department courses that I was able to take. Actually, I think that is probably one of the big differentiating factors between our firm and many other firms, because we actually run our firm as a business. It's not a charity. My parents were actually quite surprised at my choice of profession upon graduation. What has interior design to do with hotels? But I relished my time at Cornell, and I wanted to create a professional path for me that satisfied my parents' desire for a stable job with my love for very much more artistic endeavors. So with the benefit of an incredibly strong network of alumni and classmates, 4 friends became entrepreneurs, started Getty's, and we're still together today, 25 years later, as incredible friends and business partners. And I think that is something to cheer about, because most people's marriages don't last as long. So in hindsight, what drew me to the profession and prompted us to start a business was the amazing potential for many grand new ideas to deliver design services and other services, basically a creative process through collaboration, which is how we provide services to our clients. U.S. hotels in the 1980s had very little to do with design, as we know it today. But in 25 years, the hotel industry has fundamentally changed from a utilitarian place to sleep to now an aspirational place to covet and an experience to be had. And if you can't afford to stay or sleep, at least you can dine and drink in them. And now you can even Facebook or face brag, as I say, your experience, and you can rate them too, which is really interesting for our clients. Things like TripAdvisor, etc. They often drive some of the design briefs that we get. So I think the residential trends very much influence our profession, and sometimes the other way around. And now the mantra is great design means great business, and that is so different from what it used to be, and I think it's only going to be much more important as we go into the future. Everything is completely design driven. But wherever you go, sometimes you go because there's a PR aspect to it. And in terms of design and hotels, design is only half of what you experience. If the service is bad, you'll never come back. So we are only part of what makes a great hotel experience a great hotel experience. So whenever I mention what I do for a living, most people think, oh, it must be so much fun to play around with colors all day. But actually, the astonished listener hears from me that it's only 10% of the time that I actually spend designing. Most of my time is spent managing people, educating, selling, and mediating between clients and our firm, and using my business skills to actually run a business. A design firm is a business. It sounds like fun, but you still have to provide paychecks to the people that work for you. So sometimes I wonder where the fun has actually gone, especially during the recent financial crisis when there was hardly any talk of fun and lots of doubt about future. So in this incredibly challenging business environment, we can only remain relevant as designers when we change with the times. Better yet, we need to embrace the future as it unfolds. So for us, it's really all about the people.
Let me just skip ahead and...
Yeah.
Sorry.
Raw to refined is something that both Beverly and I deal with. And I think that's kind of the overarching idea about design. We take something very raw and we take it to refinement.
Well, this doesn't look like a very good design, does it? But this is, if my husband knows I've had a bad day and I need to, I'm in a funk, he might say, how about we go to the junk stores? And that is really when I know that he loves me and that I love him. Who else would really understand that? But I love going through people's castaways and seeing, what I get to find. But, I'm not sure if it's mental or if it's the local bacteria, but I do tend to get sick each and every time I visit a junk store. So I'm a little sick from taking photos, I think. But the thing I find most, the things I find that makes it feel worthwhile getting a cold. So yesterday I stopped by and I snapped some pictures of one of my favorite shops. And surprisingly, I came home with an Indian bone inlaid mirror and a gorgeous Chinese embroidered linen baby sling and a cough. The joke about me among my friends and clients is that I have an addiction to buying old, frankly dirty chairs. Most people see garbage, but I see the same chair that I would shop in a New York antique shop. It just needs a little love and attention to bring it back to its former glory. I like chairs that are a little quirky, maybe because I'm a little quirky, that seem to have a personality, and all they really need is a funky textile to bring it back to life. It's just so fun fixing up something and giving it a fresh new look. And I don't know how many chairs that I've bought, but no matter how many, when we have a large gathering, there's always a place for someone to sit. In New York, I really loved selecting china, silver, crystal, linens, everything that you would need for a fancy table setting. A lot of fun. But it wasn't nearly as fun as going to see the birthplace of where all this came from, which is Jingdeshan, China. Ladies, do not wear your favorite pair of shoes when you go visit Jingdeshan, because you'll never wear them again. It is very raw, and that's why it's so great. It's totally authentic. This is where the cobalt mineral is in the soil, and that's where the blue and white originated from. They would grind up the mineral and use this to dye the porcelain. And what's fantastic about this place is it's just a time capsule. They're still using these techniques that are over 2,000 years old. And not only that, but the architecture doesn't feel like it could have changed all that much either. So when I get to visit a place like this, it just, it's like the great adventure. I get to wander through alleys and see what I'm going to see, go into the workshops, watch them, the hustle and bustle, that daily activity. Who does this, right? This is what these guys do all day long. They just take back and forth between the workshops. And it's just fantastic to feel the heat from the furnace, to really experience, to see how it's really made. and to bargain with the shopkeepers. I love doing that too. But, you know, you get to walk into these tiny mom and pop shops that are selling everything you could ever imagine in blue and white, and I just love it. This is some china that is kind of dirty as well, but it's a Chinese pattern that if you're Chinese, it's very common, and you might have eaten on it, you know, at family get-togethers. But to me, it's fantastic. And a national factory had actually closed its doors 15 years ago, and I don't think it's been sitting out there for 15 years, but it definitely had been sitting outside this shop for a long time. And I was so excited. And the lady thought I was crazy because I started just, you know, digging through and pulling out everything so I could take some back. But what's cool about it is, you know, now it's part of my family. This is a shot from Thursday night, the Thanksgiving dinner, and we had a lot of friends over, and we used the dirty china, but we washed it really well first. So, you know, the thing that's fun is it really doesn't take much to make something special. I mean, it can be something really small, like these little shoes right here. Really great retrofitted vase, but they used to be ashtrays in the 1950s and 60s that in China, and no one wants them. And I love that. See? And then thanks to one of my trusty low-price shops, literally low-price shop, I can have as many as I want. So. But that's just the thrill of it. It's reinventing things. Another thing that I love is shopping for textiles in different countries, whether it's Indonesia or Vietnam or Laos. The locals are still doing. I mean, what do Americans do? I don't know, but they're actually weaving these things the traditions that have been passed down from generation to generation, and they're still doing it. So to me, buying some, you know, piece of garment, some remnant fabric, that is much more exciting than buying the most expensive decorator fabric, because I get to change them into pillows, and hopefully someone uses it in their home and they really enjoy it the way that I enjoy it. It becomes a part of their home. It's, you know, creates a layer in their home. Well, you know, we recently went to Jogja, Indonesia, which is fantastic. Great shopping, lovely people, and bought a lot of fabrics. They make these fabulous saris. They're mostly, you know, you wrap around your waist and gorgeous. And I wanted to buy the whole shop, but my husband was with me, so I didn't. But the techniques they use it's fantastic. They have to draw the design, then they have to print it, they wax it, they dye it. You know, it's amazing. But it really creates these fantastic designs, and I love that I can buy them. I mean, she's the artist. She gets to design it, and I just get to buy it and turn it into great pillows. That, to me, is the most fun of all. It's just pure fun. It's not, as Ari is talking about, the managing people. I mean, I do that stuff too, but rarely do you get to do something that just becomes really fun. And to me, and I don't get to do it much, and that's probably why I make so many pillows, because I don't sell that many, but I love them. I mean, I just think they're fantastic, and we have a house full of them. But anyway, so that's really what I love to do, and that's what I think of as fun in design.
Well, for me, the fun is to find people like Beverly who are so enthusiastic about what they do. But for us, on a hotel scale, everything is so much larger. So we have to have very defined processes that we go through to bring together the raw ideas to a refined product, and how we use these processes to incorporate new tools that become available to us as we develop our design. Yes, the creative process is inherently fun. It's only fun if you have an amazing team. So what constitutes an amazing team? It goes well beyond the reputation or the firm or the name on the door. We hire so many people who are incredibly stifled in their previous environments. Our basic tenet for teamwork is that we trust very deeply in each other, which also then carries the emotion of vulnerability. But once you are actually ready to be vulnerable you can speak your mind freely, and you have the luxury of being heard within the team. And you're more likely to express yourself and come up with a great idea that may move the project along exponentially. So no matter what, for me, finding the raw talent to build a large team, to make large projects work beautifully, is that's where I have the most fun. Inspiration is becoming much, much easier with the tools that we have today. It's Pinterest and Houzz and all those things that keep popping up on the web. Where we used to be having extensive libraries that were print-based. Now our libraries have shrunk, and this is not just in Hong Kong because space is so precious, but all the good stuff is on the web today, and this is very, very different from how we started, and it also influences how we present our work. It's always great to see new things while you travel, and we do that extensively. We need to know what our competition is doing, what the comparable hotels are within each market. So we do a lot of trend spotting. But actually, one of the things that I alluded to earlier is the PR-induced fame that comes with so many restaurants and hotels. It really, again, it's really only half about the design. When you see the design and you have great service, that's what makes a great experience. Collaboration. We don't design in a vacuum. Our mantra is we instead of me. There's so many designers today. It's all about the personality cult, and we're actually taking quite a different tack to that. We have been a team from the beginning. We celebrate the successes together. We have to deal with the failures that, of course, come with what we do. And it's never about one person. So I think we are so different from many other design firms. You know, you hire sometimes people because they have a name to do your restaurant, but is that really what you want to do? Because you're not going to be collaborating. You're going to be getting whatever that name person puts on your table. So, again, building that team is the most fun I get to do, and especially since in many ways the design process is not always fun. Sometimes it turns into non-fun very quickly. You just have to find the right clients. That's the most important thing that we do, client selection. And for me as a manager, if I have a dysfunctional team and I can make that team functional, that is one of the greatest satisfactions that I get in my job. And the last thing that's fun is, of course, all the great results that we get.
Sorry, not the junk.
So I'll show you some pictures of some of our work in this region and around the world. This is Hard Rock Macau. Another Hard Rock project in the Dominican Republic. Resorts, Hard Rock Macau again. So all these ideas were put together as part of a team. There was not one person that was alluded to. Small boutique hotel in California. And when you see our work, there's not really a particular style, and that is because there's not a particular person who dictates a style, which I think is great. This is in Hong Kong. This is Mamo's bar. Water coming out of the ceiling. Round rooms, very difficult to design. And Peninsula Hong Kong, our latest and greatest venture. And this will be me in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.